We are back! Thank you so much for coming back. It means a lot to me. My name is Mark Warnock. This is Beyond the Edit. How good is Riri? She is hilarious. I hope you found that conversation as enjoyable as I did. And guess what? We've got another great guest on Beyond the Edit. It's my favorite loss prevention officer, Garrick Wildman. What a legend. What a dude. He is such a great character, such a great person, such a fantastic human being. And I'm sure that when you get through this 1 hour podcast listening to Garrick, you're going to agree with me. So sit back, relax, crack open a drink, and listen to Beyond the Edit Episode 2 with Garrick Wildman. All right, everyone, we're back. I've made it to the second episode of Beyond the Edit, and there is no one that I'm more excited to talk to than Garrick. Garrick, thank you so much for joining me. You're wearing your Dirty Dogs hat, which I bloody love. How are you going, mate?
Pleasure to be on, Mark. Thanks for inviting me over. I'm doing pretty good. I've just returned from overseas, so I'm a little jet lagged, but yeah, overall, I'm feeling pretty good about stuff.
Man, how's Bali? What are you doing over there?
Bali's one of those places you either love it or you hate it. There's no in between. A lot of people I meet just hate it, but I love Bali. I really, really love it, and I've got a couple of little businesses going on over there. So, I think it'll be like the sort of the half second home, the retiree home. Come and go from there in the next year or two, maybe. Yeah,
it sounds pretty good. I mean, are you not? I guess that you're not in sort of an area of Bali where there's influencers everywhere, or are you now an influencer, mate? Have I just missed it?
No, I haven't gone down that road. No, and that's not in the area I'm in. I'm in the dirty guts of Kuta. So
I love it.
Yeah, it's right where it all happens, but not too many influencers or pretty beaches there for them to be laying around on.
All right. Oh, you get it all to yourself, mate. That sounds good. And I also know that you're wearing a Joey Ramone t-shirt, which I bloody love. I love the Ramones. Are you a guitarist?
No, but I'm a mad muso fan.
Rockaway Beach. That's so cool.
One of those old Raymond, except Raymond's probably got a lot more, that general knowledge of stuff that blows me away. But yeah, I just love all the old stuff. Love old music.
Mate, my dad had a Ramones Greatest Hits CD when I was growing up, and it was a double 2 CD album. I used to pump that thing so many times, and there was that Pet Sematary song. I love that tune. Yeah. So yeah. Oh, yeah, that's so cool, mate. Well, we first met. We never really spoke in Samoa at all. So I remember when I didn't
get a chance.
Mate, I remember making. I was looking at the Rebels Beach, looking at you guys, and I thought, you can just get vibes from people, and I was really sad that we didn't get to overlap. But we did first meet at, I think it was Kitty's wedding, which was cool. We got to sort of say good day and have a beer, but then we both met Johnny Fairplay together. At one of the at an event that we shall not speak of. But man, what was it like for you that moment, watching sort of those first episodes come out, meeting someone like Johnny Fairplay? You're a fan of the game. Like how did that feel? Transitioning from that period of post game to going on TV.
Look, I've loved Survivor since the early days. Watched them all, I was a big fan of the American season, but I was more so a big fan of the early American season stuff. Like I've always been a big fan of what's his name? It's taken me now. Evil Russell.
Russell Vance.
Yeah. So I loved his style. Take no business stuff. But at the same time, Johnny Fairplay was just out there, right? So good player as well. Neither of them. Well, Russell did win, didn't he, once? But I don't think Johnny ever did.
No, Russell
did
came.
Russell win either, maybe. No.
I think it's his first season. Everyone just kind of he got to the end, but then Natalie, I think it was Natalie, won, but it was kind of his season. Yeah. That's so cool. I don't know. I don't know if people would know that you are a big fan, and that was pretty interesting to me that you were such a huge fan, and then you played Australian Survivor. You were the oldest guy on our season, so that was it's pretty cool. I think you bring a lot. You brought a lot to the table that I think people may not know about, which is why I'm so keen to talk to you, man.
I think out of all the Australian seasons, maybe Jerry's the only one older than I am. I think
Is that right?
yeah, I think I might be wrong, but I'm pretty sure Jerry's the only one that's older than. He's the oldest one that's ever played, and I come in somewhere around second there.
How did that? How did that? I love your mantra, by the way. Don't let the old man in. How did those two? You've got that mantra on one end, but also you're the sort of second oldest man to play.
Yeah.
How did that play in your mind going in? Was it a factor at all, or were you just kind of
a massive factor because of being a fan of Survivor? I know that the older guys are always taken out, or they have to play a sort of a backseat role. If you jump up and mess around, people just think, look, let's get rid of that old bloke for whatever reason, whether they think that he's weak or maybe too much of a player. So I did consider that a lot, and also knowing that the younger generation has a completely different outlook on life and a different way of doing things, like the TikToks and Instas and Facebook, which I'm really not up on. And so I knew there's going to be a problem with stuff that we can talk about.
Yeah. How do you relate?
So I went that route of like, I will try and take a little bit more of a covert role.
Yeah. Oh, well, I love that. And I think it's really, I remember talking to Caroline a lot about how this played on her mind. And I think it is risky as an older player, the perception, right? The perception that you might stand out, or you might be bossy, or, you might actually know how to bloody build a shelter. I bet you probably built half of your shelter. Half, more than half. Sorry. What percentage was you, mate?
Look, to be honest, that's one of the things that I wish that they had a better edit of. With the Rebels, we did gel pretty good, but we separated off into a couple of different groups. And to be honest, I think people like Ferris and Raymond will back me on this. I pretty much built the shelter. There was others that looked after the fire and food and cooking and stuff like that, but I pretty much built that entire shelter. But detriment to me, I really did damage to my hand. So hindsight, I would never do that again.
Yeah. Well, I appreciated it later on because I noticed how well the construction was compared to ours. So thank you.
You don't have to sleep on the ground, right? You can sleep up.
It was good. Hey, so going into the game, were you working out? Were you trying to be strong? Because I must tell you, as an opponent in those challenges, you looked fit. I remember thinking we had to pick people, who's going to go against who, and then people were saying, oh, maybe we put, I don't know, we were discussing who was strong and who was weak just by looks, and for me, you look like you have what I call old man strength. You may not be working out at the gym all the time, but you've bloody moved homes, or, you've done renos on your house or whatever. But were you making a conscious effort to try and get stronger before you got out there, or did you just rely on your natural body?
That's just me every day. It goes with the mantra. Don't let the old man in. So you've just got to stay fit. You've got to stay active, and you've got to stay young. I didn't do any extra work at the gym or anything like that, but I just always try to stay as strong and as fit as I can. I wished we would have got a chance to have a swimming race.
Oh, mate, are you good in the water?
Didn't you notice? Yeah, I'm pretty good in the water. And when I seen you swim, I thought to myself, damn, I would love to. You know the one where they threw the ball out and had to swim for the ball? No one caught me there. I would have loved to have go up against you there.
Mate, next time, if you're on the Goldie, I'll come find you. I reckon, dude, Jess apparently is Jess was I think she went to nationals for swimming as
Really?
well. Yeah, and then I'm back myself in the water. You good swimmer, and Alex was really quick too. So
Yeah.
isn't that funny? Like you can't ever judge a book by its cover in
No,
Survivor
not a
because
chance.
you never know. You never know who's got these little weapons up their
No.
sleeves.
And that book with book and cover thing, I say that in my intro. Don't judge a book
Yeah,
by its cover, because the way I'm judged is never correct. Never correct.
yeah, yeah. Speaking of hiding things up your sleeves and books and covers, tattoos, man. I love tattoos. I don't have one, but I've been obsessed with them for so long. You've
Yeah.
got Japanese, it looks kind of Japanese flowers on one sleeve. Is that right? I want to hear what are the story any interesting stories behind your tattoos, because you got a few. They're pretty prominent and they're pretty cool.
Yeah, I've got a couple of new ones as well. I'm not sure if you can see, like,
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
and then
That's
you've got
nice.
the Garrick dragon here.
Yeah.
I thought the back is a full back job, but it's a full dragon with the Japanese stuff. Look, I'm
Yeah.
born year of the dragon, month of the dragon, all of that kind of thing. So it's like,
Okay.
what do they call it? Your animal. What do they call it?
Yeah, your Chinese year. Like it's your lunar
Yeah, no,
lunar calendar.
your own, your mystic animal, or somebody is a dog, somebody's a rabbit. I feel like I'm the dragon. I really like to,
Dude,
you know,
that's cool.
yeah, yeah.
So how many
But I love
dragons
the
do you have?
tattoos. I just love them.
So you got a dragon on the back. Was that a dragon on the arm here as well?
There's like a goanna here, snake here, all the Japanese flames here. So this arm's the hot one, this arm's the cold one. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Is it spiritual at all, or is it just things that you like?
Spiritual to individuals. Mine have not so much of a spiritual meaning, but more of just a story meaning,
Yeah.
and it's personal story. Why you get them, why you do them, why you pick that particular design. Yeah.
When did you get your first tattoo?
First tattoo when I was a kid.
Yeah.
Yeah. First tattoo was when I was a young bloke. That's on the leg, but yeah, I've never stopped. I've had them even recently, 12 months ago.
And you got a Titans v Rebels tattoo as well.
I've got the Rebels logo on that arm and the Titans on that
for
arm.
those who can't see, the Rebels little symbol that was on our flag is on the hot arm, the flame arm, and then on the cool arm, the light blue Titan symbol. That is bloody cool. That is I think you've just won the Australian Survivor fan contest. I mean, George has a bloody idol tattooed on his chest, but
I think he's now also got one on his wrist now, haven't he? He's got two idols.
Yeah, his chest. I think he's got some other little emblems. But mate, that's really cool. Yeah. So where did you grow up in Australia? Were you always a Queenslander?
Sydney. Originally from Sydney, from sort of northwest suburbs of Sydney, around Gladesville Ryde area.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. And then I followed my parents up here to Queensland. Yeah, years and years and years ago. They come up to retire. I thought, geez, that looks all right up there.
Mate, never go back. Never go back down to Mexico.
No, I won't. I've been once and really didn't like it. Think they've completely ruined the place. So that was enough for me.
I feel I was born and raised in North Queensland in Townsville, and so whenever I think I heard your voice, and I thought immediately, oh, Garrick's a Queenslander, 100%. Hey, what I'm going to do now, I think, for every guest, I'm going to go back and rewatch the promo video because I love how it captures elements of your character, which we then never develop because we don't have the time on the show. It's fair enough. Yeah. But you're obviously a loss prevention officer. What I'm interested in is the concept of deception. So you nailed on the game. You absolutely nailed and picked people trying to deceive you. So I'm interested in how you spot detection. But then also the interesting thing about your role is you kind of go undercover. You have to be hidden. You can't be detected. So yeah, tell us about how do you, I mean, and again, I don't know if you're still working, potentially there's limits to what you can say. I don't want you to get in trouble. I don't want you to give the entire game away, but yeah, just talk about to me a little bit about some of the things that you've learned over your times being a loss prevention officer.
Look, first of all, that cover has somewhat been blown away, but it's starting to come back. I've been walking around the shops and people go, "Oh, there's that dude." So, you know,
Yeah.
but that's starting to go away. It's like yesterday's newspaper, which is good. But
Yeah.
look, it's one of those things. I always say it's not really something that you can be taught. It's or learn even. I've tried to teach new people coming into the business how to do it, and some people just never get it. Some people just have that instinct. I always put it down to something like a poker player who has no face. You know, when you can't tell, they have no tell. You don't know what hand they've got, but then you've got another player that sees that tell. So it's more of a subconscious thing. So someone will walk into the shop, and it could be any walk of life, old, young, woman, male, it doesn't matter. And for something in my head will go, that person's no good.
Right.
I don't know how it works. With many of the good covert loss prevention officers have talked about this. None of us really know or understand how it works, but 99% of the time, if I pick that person's no good, they're no good.
That's so interesting. What I find interesting about that is it's not just you. All of your other buddies in the game have the same feeling that you can't really teach it. You've either kind of got it or you don't. That's really interesting. So you've tried to teach it, but basically you kind of have to have some bottom limit. You have to have some capability already, and maybe you can tweak on the edges.
You can tweak on the edges for sure, but look, if 10 people walk into a room and I can pick one like that and go, I know they're gonna be no good, be up to no good. They're going to steal, or they're going to be, whatever the situation is that their illegal thing is. And I'm telling you, seriously, 99% of the time, bang, I'm money on. And when I used that with Survivor, I was 99% on as well.
Yeah, you were. You really were. It's an amazing skill, and something that I'm sure that you've helped develop over time as well. And the reason why it resonates with me a lot, because in my old job, I'd meet, especially when I was posted overseas, I'd meet so many people, right? You go to a function and there's 100 people there and you got to go and work the room. And I call it listening to your gut. I call it juju. I call it good vibes, bad vibes. And some people don't listen to it. They go, oh no, if I try really hard, eventually this person will like me. But sometimes you kind of just got to like accept that you'll have good vibes with some people and bad vibes with other people. So it's kind of different to what you're talking about. But when you get that feeling,
on that same field,
it's like, and on the game of Survivor, I've heard you talk about feeling really close with Kirby actually at the start, and I think she's got good juju. You can't put your finger on it. It's confidence, maybe, I don't know, charisma, but people are attracted to her, and that's why you were so upset.
I was very upset because Kirby and I gelled so tight.
Yeah.
And look, I know you make pacts and things can change in a heartbeat there, but when there's no need for it, no reason to it, and something that I didn't see, that's what, like, I thought, there's one I've missed.
But that's probably why it hurts more, because it's the 1% where you're relying on your instinct. You're going, oh man, we're clicking. This is great. And then have that sort of that broken juju. I don't know, like broken vibes. Exactly. That hurts. It hurts more.
It did hurt. Like me and Kirby are good. I've talked to her heaps of times. I would love to give her a call tomorrow. She's such an awesome person. But at the time, it did me in, man, and I couldn't let it go.
Don't worry, man. I couldn't let some things go either, to my detriment. So you're not alone.
Right? Yeah.
Going undercover. Going undercover. Sorry, I want to keep going with this a little bit.
Yeah.
What sort of commitment does it take? That's quite a commitment in a job. Like I think in my profession of former profession of diplomacy, it takes a certain commitment to sort of dedicate yourself to a course like that. But I think the interesting thing about going undercover is it's such a physical. You've really got to mentally and physically kind of get into a zone. Talk to me about that. What's it like doing a job like that day in, day out?
Look, it can knock you about. It can, honestly, it's
Yeah.
a very stressful job.
Yeah.
Primarily, you're going out there every single day to find the not nice people. So you start to look at humans in general as not cool. So
Right.
every day I wake up and I think to myself, okay, how am I going to get into that mood today? So whether I sometimes I'll dress like a tradie, and sometimes I will just dress the complete down and out bum. And then what I then do is then try to immerse myself in wherever I am, in whatever zone I'm in, as in the area that I'm approaching, right?
Yeah.
And because you're looking for the dark side of humanity, you start to feel it. So it can get you. I try my hardest to leave it behind at when I'm finished work, and yet I will leave work and then I'll be, with a friend or somebody else, and I'll be out, and then I can't help myself and see it again. So it does have some detriment, even though you've stepping into that covert undercover. It becomes part of you, which is probably not cool.
Yeah. Well, I suppose also you're looking for badness. So your default, you might slip into a default where you are seeing the worst in people, obviously, as well, rather than seeing the good in people. But then also that preparation, because you're a professional, you've got to think, okay, if I'm dressed as a tradie, what do tradies do? You're not going to be sipping a little double espresso, maybe. I'm generalizing here to all the tradies that drink double espressos out there. I apologize. But you kind of got to have a mother, you maybe, I don't know, take up smoking. I don't know.
Anything that it takes. Anything that it takes, really, that's what you've got to do. Anything that it takes to become that undercover covert is what you do, and that's where you've got to enter into that dark side for a time, and not just your physical, but your mental.
And that's
mentally, you've got to start to think. You've got to start to think like a crook.
Wow. That's why you're a rebel. They didn't explain it very well, but that is actually why you're a rebel, because you can put yourself in the shoes of the darkest people. Or aeronautical engineers, apparently. You busted some aeronautical engineer.
Yeah, look, I've busted everything. Every walk of life I've busted, without a doubt.
Mate.
From the good to the bad, like dirty down and outs, drug addicts to the elite class. I've got everyone you can think of. And there's some that I could name that you would know, which I won't and I can't.
Yeah,
there's people that I've caught red-handed that you 100% would know.
Wow.
Everybody, if I mentioned their name, everybody would know them. So it's all forms. Yeah.
So is that? Oh, this is really interesting. So, that's essentially what you're talking about is probably white collar crime. Is that right? Or is it does that work relate to famous people who are stealing? I'm not sure, like in what context.
Look, it goes from everything. It can go from the person that's stealing whatever item, right? And then offloading it to the next person. So you might want to be watching the next person as well. So it goes all the way down the line, but it can start from, when you say famous people, just an opportunist who thought, I decided I'm going to put that in my pocket.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Yeah,
That's
and
interesting.
like with a famous person, or let's probably not say famous person, but someone that everybody knows, maybe a sports person or something like that, right? I guess you still call them famous, but when they walk into the store, most people wouldn't be watching them to think they're going to do anything, bad, and yet there's something in my head that goes, oh, they're not here for the correct reason, and then I'll start to covertly watch them, whether it's from behind a screen or sometimes I might go into another room and watch them on a camera. And sure enough, if I pick that person, the chances are I'm going to catch them.
Garrick, I'm not blowing smoke up your bum, but I thought being a diplomat was good training for Survivor. It's such good preparation for Survivor because you're calling bullshit on everyone, right? You've got to earn your trust, or if you feel like there's bad juju, that's what I'm going to call it from now on, bad juju. It doesn't matter who they are. Maybe you would have turned around to JLP and say, JLP, you've been cheating. And all of a sudden everyone's like, oh, what's he stolen? But do you know what I mean? Like in terms of going into the game, you're really not going to buy anything from someone unless you feel it. And I think it showed in the game that you picked up deception, and you built trust, and just the way things panned out for you is pretty unlucky.
Do you know, Mark, I wish that's one of the things that I wish would have been portrayed or edited a little better on some of those things that I did pick up on. And so on that, I was tight with Ferris. I was also tight with Kirby because I felt that straight away they were people that I could trust. And with that, I often told Ferris, this is what I think is going to happen. And it did happen. I wish some of that was put onto the edit, but it wasn't. Like even on my last night, before we left camp, I knew it was me. And I said to Ferris, this is not going to go well, man. This is what's going to happen. But Ferris had the idol, and they were him and Raymond were a little bit jovial around camp and stuff. And I was sitting there in the hammock and I was just watching what was going on, and I knew what was going on. And I tried to, and Ferris wouldn't have it. He was going, no, we're sweet. We've got the numbers. Yeah. And then this is one of the things I really wish, when you mentioned JLP, one of the things I really, really can't come to terms with why I didn't, when they said, has anybody got any idol or anything, why I didn't stand up right then and say, JLP, stop right there, and then tell Ferris 100% what I knew what was going to happen. Because I knew what was going to happen. And I knew if Ferris played that idol for me, Kirby went home. I knew it. Yeah. And you can see little bits of it in the edits.
Yeah, yeah. Well, mate, I hope
you hear me say, I'm gone, mate. I'm gone here.
Oh, bro. It breaks my heart because I know how much of a fan you are, that this is probably plays on your mind a bit. So I'm really sorry that that's the case. But also, I just want to say to you, as another player, it doesn't discredit what you actually did. You know what you did in your head. We all know that this is a TV show, and obviously we know who wins. So that's just going to be the edit. But it would have been nice for people to see that. But I think just you obviously. We us players, we know we have our own stuff. So I think you played a great game, and I know so many people that I speak to would love to see you back. I really do hope you get the chance because you got the skills, man. You got the receipts.
Yeah. It's a bugger because I think it plays on everyone's mind, but it really has for a long time. Not now, but look, I was shattered. Tell you, Mark. Yeah. I was shattered. I sat back there like I couldn't cope, primarily because I knew what was going to happen, but more so because I knew I could have gone way more. I know it, and I know that's a horrible thing to say and a really kick it on yourself thing to say, but just that one change, the whole thing could have possibly changed. So it's really hard, man, to come to terms with it. And getting as far as you did must be even harder to come to terms with. When you get that far and go, oh my God, so close.
Well, let's stick with you for a second, Garrick. That's nice of you to say. Thank you. But I think what's would really burn is what you're saying is not just did you get voted off, but you knew it, and then there was an option for you to get saved, and that's what's really got to hurt. And I think it's.
I would never hold that against Ferris because he didn't see it. I've talked to Ferris afterwards, and he just didn't see it. And he's a genuine guy, man. He's a straight up genuine guy, and he said to me, if I would have seen it, or if I had more time to evaluate what you had said earlier, 100% he would have played the idol, and I believe him. 100% I believe him, he would have. But he just, for some reason, he didn't see it that day, because Ferris played a bloody good game, and he did see a lot of other things.
Yeah.
Together, Ferris and I together, when I would say to him, this is what's going to happen, and he'd have a look, he'd go, yes. And then other times he'd say to me, this is what's going to happen, and I'd look to him and I'd evaluate and go, man, you're on the money. So we were good together. Yeah. We were pretty good together.
Well, I think that if this is a silver lining potentially, I think that when you get, from Ferris's perspective, he would have gone away and he would have been upset, right? And then he would have thought to himself, Garrick told me, and you get sharper. You get sharper in the game, and I know that I definitely got sharper as I went along because I was paying more attention. I was less, I took things more seriously. I needed to listen more to more people. So you contributed to Ferris's win, so I hope you do. Take that. Mate, I want to. It's tough. It's tough maybe to talk about, but I think it's important. So you get ripped out of the game that you love. You played amazing. You were doing really well, and then you're back in Oz. Like, what is that like? And just talk to me about how you sort of cope with that, because I think a lot of people who are listening to this are probably going to be mainly super fans of the game, and they may not be prepared for that. Were you prepared mentally for that?
No, I look, geez. You don't want to say things without making yourself sound like you have too many tickets on yourself, but I genuinely thought I would go a lot better than that. So with that, and then getting, like, the whole thing was a blur from the time I got voted off until I got home. Just it went that quick. You get voted off, you're on a plane, I got bypassed to another country, then back in Australia. Next thing you know, I'm sitting on the end of my bed just going, what a trip. And I was done. And I couldn't talk to anyone, and I couldn't socialise, and I couldn't get it together. And I know that sounds so terribly weak, but because I was such a fan, and because, look, it's not the first time I tried to get on Survivor. So once I got on Survivor, my goal had, the goal in life to get on Survivor.
Yeah,
I'd achieved it. So that part of it, I was always thinking anyway, look, at the very end of the day, you got on the bloody show. And that's what got me through. That's what got me through, thinking that I got on. I achieved what I wanted to do. I may not have gone as far as I wanted to go, but I achieved getting on the show. And so I used a lot of that to get me through. But be honest, it really knocked me about. It really knocked me about.
Matt, I appreciate that honesty, and I don't think it's wrong to say that you have tickets on yourself. I think that it reflects a fact that you actually care. You really cared. Getting onto the game is one thing, and it sounds like I'm keen to hear about your experience getting on. But once you're on, you're about to get into the game. You can't just rest on your laurels and say, well, I'm here now, so whatever happens, I don't care. You got to go for it. So I think that it reflects that you're passionate about the bloody game and you wanted to give it a crack. Now, at the end of it all, you got to remember, you got to make it, you do have to remember that you are one of a handful of
Yeah.
Australians had the chance.
Yeah.
But still, mate, you still did really well. So I hope. But don't. I'm not discrediting the feelings of how tough it is to get voted off. So I know that I really enjoyed our interactions afterwards, and I hope that you can still look at the game with some fond memories. Let's talk about your casting, because you've we haven't even touched on motorbikes yet, and everything else. But yeah, so how many times have you applied? How far have you gone in the past? I would have cast you the first time I laid my eyes on you. I think you're instant casting. You brought some of the best one-liners in our season. I'm on them like a bloodhound, bloody dirty dogs, and what was the other one? Smell a rat. I can smell a rat. You were nailing it. I've never seen anyone on Australian Survivor that had the combo of age, strength, interesting backstory.
Thank you, man. Thank you.
And the clarity of the lines was so good. So yeah, that's okay. That's me introducing you your casting experience. Tell me how it was.
Look. I was very fortunate because as many years as I'd watched it, I'd only ever applied one time before, and I think that was pre-COVID. And I just got the generic letter. Thank you, but unfortunately, you haven't made the cut. Yeah. And so for I think it was maybe 2 or 3, maybe 4 years after that, I didn't apply again. Constantly said I'm going to. Never opened up the computer and started, and constantly just kept on watching it. And then after the George season 9, wasn't it 8? Anyway, I went, you know what? I'm going for it. I'm going to go for it again.
Yeah.
And I just did a very short video, very short video, saying, look, I'm a fan. I'm an old bloke, and I really am going to do my best and win it. Yeah. It was very simple. It was very short, but it was genuine. Because I think I wanted to express that this is who I am, rather than all the bullshit that some people say. Look, I've travelled around the world, or I do this, or I do that. I didn't do any of that. I just said, this is me. I'm an old bloke. I'm ready to win it, and let's just go for it. Get me in there and give me a shot. And yeah, I think it was only a couple of days after I sent it through, I got a phone call going, we're really keen to have you come along.
Mate, that's awesome. That's so good. I really like that to hear that George. That I assume it's Heroes versus Villains that season inspired you. Because it was quite similar for me too, actually. I thought, I'm just going to do it. And so, you just need a little push. So, that's cool. And did you find, I feel like the whole process from that moment to the plane, which, by the way, we were on the same plane, and I remember seeing you.
True. Can I tell you something really funny? From the time and look, you can watch. I'll tell you a second. From the time the limousine picked me up from the house, and
you got a limousine.
Drove me to the airport till I got to Samoa, I was in a haze. It was like too much. Yeah. If you watch the first episode when we're walking in and then we're introduced, I'm at the back like a deer in the headlights. I'm just lost. I've looked back and gone, oh my God, have a look at you. Like I'm just completely, don't know what to do, don't know what to say. I couldn't believe that I'm here.
Yeah, it is very overwhelming.
Yeah, so from when the interview from the producers, I rocked up on my Harley in my jacket and stuff, and parked out the front and walked in, and they've gone straight away. They've gone, oh, you're Garrick, come on in. And I said, do I take my jacket off or anything like that? And they said, no, exactly how you are is how we want you to do it. So yeah, that's how it was.
I think that's I mean, obviously you're instantly castable, but the transition from you're going around your day-to-day, you know that you're about to go and play Survivor, which is just blows your mind. But
Blows
then
my mind.
once the wheels go in motion, right? It's like you're getting onto a roller coaster and you go and then whoosh down. But that anticipatory moment, you could take this to an R-rated podcast if we get into the details. But yeah, that's such an exciting feeling. I love the plane ride over, the mystery of it, the what are we doing? What are we getting ourselves into? Getting on that plane and looking around. And I spotted you and I thought, you hadn't shaved. Not judgment. I was just, I'm just analyzing, right? I'm like, oh, this guy hasn't shaved. He looks a bit older. I was thinking maybe you were like an older tour. I couldn't figure out if you were an old tourist, just really cash, because I could see some of the Jaden. Jaden's, as soon as I saw Jaden, I thought this guy's on. Kitty, I spotted, she's on. Caroline,
Really?
on, yeah. Well, we were all in a little group, but I could see other, like you weren't in our group, and I could see you on the plane. And then I wasn't sure about you, but I definitely noticed your juju. You had a juju, and I'm like, I don't know, and I couldn't figure it out. I wasn't sure, and then when I saw you, I was like, that's the guy. I saw him. So
because there's a couple that I spotted on the plane.
Yeah, it's funny. I don't know what you did what did you do on the plane? Did you sleep or were you awake the whole time?
No, I put my earbuds in and just tried to relax, man. Yeah. I did look around a bit. There was one person that was in front of me that was quite annoying. You can guess who that was.
we said we weren't going to discuss it.
Yeah. But she was a giveaway straight away. I went, 100% she's on.
You were cursed. From the bloody Samoa.
Yeah.
Oh, goodness. That's so funny. Well, I don't know. Does this... I can't go throughout this podcast without saying that my nickname for you was Anthony Bourdain. Does this annoy you? Do people call you Anthony Bourdain a lot, and does it annoy you? Because
before, after, since, I've got that so many times. But it's so strange. I don't know if you ever get called names like, oh, you look like that person. But Anthony Bourdain's not the only one. There's a few where people say to me, oh, you look exactly like that guy. And it's often.
I can guess one other one. I think I know one other one, but it's not that flattering. So I think Anthony Bourdain's better.
Yeah, well, let's just stay with that one because that's the one I probably get the most. Believe it or not, I get the guy for Anthony Kalidas as well. I get him.
Oh, okay.
But more so when he was young, when short hair, I guess. But yeah, Bourdain, I've got that for years.
It's bizarre. It must be so bizarre because I think when I saw you, my first impressions of you swirling our boat, it turned out to be good because I thought to myself, this guy, interesting, leather jacket, looks like Anthony Bourdain, and I love Anthony Bourdain. So innately, I was like, I want to play with Anthony Bourdain. So from a survivor perspective, I thought it was kind of cool.
Yeah.
Oh man. Hey, what do I got here? Casting, playing as the oldest man. Yeah, you did great. Because we didn't really meet in Samoa.
Yeah.
What did you think of and I've heard you talk about the Rebels. What did you think about the Titans? Like from a distance, what did we look like? You don't have to talk about me, but who stood out?
From the Titans, from the very first impression when I was on the boat looking across, and you guys were on the big boat, I honestly thought, what a bunch of misfits. Like, not one looked like they were going to gel with the other. You've got the power man, and then I think closest to the power man was Charles. And I thought, this is insane. There's one woman with a great big fluffy jacket. I thought these guys are a complete mix match stuff.
Oh, it's so funny. Isn't it funny?
On the first challenge, Yeah, I'd hit the nail on the head. I thought, oh, I wasn't wrong there. These guys.
Touche. It's so funny because I've always wanted to know that from the people that I never got to play with, because
Yeah.
I obviously got to meet. It's only Peter, yourself, and Tobias, who I didn't get to cross paths with out there. So yeah, that's interesting. What was it like watching the rest of the season? So you obviously know. Well, you obviously kind of have heard what's happened, but
No, when I got voted off, I tried my hardest to keep where my story finished is where I wanted to stop and then watch the rest of the show. I didn't want anyone to tell me what had happened. So, 100%, man. I had talked to Raymond, I think, and I had talked to Ferris, and I always said, man, I don't want to know. I just want to watch it. I want to know my own version from the time I was voted off. So even when I watched the first, up until I got voted off, I didn't know I didn't know you guys. I didn't know what had happened on you guys, right? So that was so interesting to watch it firsthand. I hadn't talked to anyone from the Titans to find out, how you guys thought about each other or whatever. So it was quite interesting watching you guys up until then. And I knew what had happened in my own tribe, of course. But from the time I got voted off, I didn't want to know. I really didn't want to know, and I wanted to just watch it like I was a viewer. And I really enjoyed that.
Wow, that's a really cool experience. So yeah, you kind of get the experience of a viewer as well, even though you kind of got an inside running of the direction of the story. So yeah, that's kind of cool.
Yeah, every weekend I'd get over to. There was a bunch of us. I played the guys that I hang around with, we're like a gang. We ride motorbikes and play golf. Okay. So every Friday night, that's what we do. It'd be one of the guys' house. We'd rock up and we'd watch Survivor.
Nice. Oh, that sounds like a really fun crew. A motorcycle golf gang watching Survivor.
Yeah, exactly what it is.
So yeah, what did you think? What did you think of like what? How do I phrase this better? Putting yourself. Was it hard to watch the game and not think, oh, why did they do that when I would have done that? Or,
100%. Of course you're critical. But every season that I watch, I'm critical. Oh, why did you do that? Or why did you say that? So no different, right? But even more so when you're watching a season that you've played on and that you know what people are like. So I watched Raymond do a particular thing. I went, oh, Raymond, don't do that. Or I watched Kirby play a particular role and give credit to it, all different. But yeah, look, I've always watching it pre-playing it. Yeah, I've had a different outlook. But after you've played with those people and watched it, I was very critical.
Very critical. I love that so much. That's so funny. Do you want to highlight any? I wouldn't mind if you were critical of my game. I made some big boo-boos, but yeah.
I think everyone made some boo-boos. I made a catastrophe boo-boo. I really ruined it for myself with Kirby. But I think when I watched the way you and Caroline didn't gel, it was almost annoying. when you guys would come close and then either one of you would say something, go, oh my God, here we go again.
It was usually me being annoying.
Part of the game, cool. You got to play it, right?
Fair call. Well, all right. Here's a question lifted up. What lesson do you think future players will learn from Titans versus Rebels?
Wow. Can you learn anything from past seasons? Not sure about that. Look, I don't think that I've learnt anything about past seasons that would gel with my game. Okay. Yeah, I think that's a tricky one. I could give advice on maybe do this or maybe do that, but from watching what we did, I couldn't pick one particular moment where anyone I think could learn something. I didn't learn anything from any other games, I don't think, other than look, probably I did actually when I think about it. There's some things that you've seen in other games where someone did a radical thing with throwing the food away. Like you wouldn't do things like that to annoy people. The thing is with Survivor, you've got to be brutal, right? Yeah. You've got to be brutal and you've got to be tough. But honestly, you've got to try not to annoy people.
Yeah.
So the one thing you would learn from anything is like how to gel with an individual person without being annoying. Because once you annoy one person, that one person can then tell the next one, and then it snowballs along. The next thing you know, the whole tribe you've annoyed.
Yeah, it's tainted. It's like a spreading, it's like a stain on a rag that just keeps on expanding. Yeah, that's a fair call. I think that's I agree. I've listened to a lot of people talk about their games, and I think you can't really. There are no truths or axioms. You know, there's no one rule. But I think shooting your shot and being brutal. I think that's pretty fair. Ultimately, it is a individual game, but you need other people to help you get to the end. So, yeah, I agree. That's interesting. Hey, talking about food, there's something that I think that didn't get shown about you that's really interesting was when I eventually made it onto Rebels Beach, I called it the Ghost of Garrick. Do you know what is the Ghost of Garrick? Could you guess what the Ghost of Garrick is?
Look, it's to do with the coconuts. Nobody else.
It is. It is.
Yeah. I don't think anybody opened a coconut. Well, they didn't know how. I was just constantly looking, going, that's not how you open a coconut. So I spend, anytime somebody would say, oh, look, I really need a coconut, Garrick, can you open a coconut? Couple of whacks with a machete, there you go. But I would peel the coconut down to its round brown husk.
Yep.
And so you can imagine the pile of coconut husk, right? You've probably seen it.
That's what it is. That is the Ghost of Garrick. So I arrived on Rebels Beach and I see this heaving pile of coconut husks. And I've gone, you guys are really good at keeping your camp nice and tidy.
Yeah.
No. That's just Garrick and his coconuts. Yeah. That's where I went to open them. And then it turned out really useful because I could burn all of those coconut husks.
Of course. That's what it's for. Keeps the flies over there, keeps the bugs and stuff over there away from camp. And it's a resource. You can use it once they've dried. Do you know what I did every day, though? Looked through it for an idol. No luck, though.
You were hoping. You're like, come on.
I was hoping.
Put one
come on. Hide an idol in there in my stash, please.
Oh goodness. Yeah, I did something similar. Not with the coconut husk, but there was a little spot that I always checked for crabs, just hoping that one day one would show up. Guess what? One never did.
Lucky for the little crab.
Yeah, well, I ate a lot of them. Hey, I want to go back really quickly to motorbikes because you're clearly a biker. Where does your love of bikes come from? And tell us about your obsession with motorbikes.
Oh, look, from a little boy, I've loved motorbikes. Yeah, from a little boy, I actually remember being in the back seat of the car when you used to be able to lay up on the back parcel shelf of the window, and motorbikes go past, and I would say things like, I'm going to do that one day, and my father would, no, you're bloody not. So it was destined from the time I was a little fella. My brother, I've got a few other brothers, but the youngest brother is mad motorcycle guy as well. So yeah, I've always done it. Dirt bikes, all of those things. But once it came to the age of getting a license, I was out there. Big road bikes, I love them.
So you and your brother are a little crew driving around bikes together?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, we'll push bike even mad. He's a better rider than I am. He's the back wheel guy, like a real mug lair on the motorbike. Yeah,
nice. Oh, that's so cool. And then you've just kept it up your whole life riding bikes.
Yeah, I'll never give it away. I won't ever give away riding motorbikes ever until I can't, not physically strong enough to hold it straight.
Wow. And are you part of? You said you're in a group before. Is it a gang or like what? Like, how do you form a motorbike?
Look, there's all different kinds of gangs these days. I did used to knock around with
Uh,
some OMCGs, but now it's just a social motorcycle club. Yeah, it's a gang. They've got their own little patch and colours and all of that kind of stuff. But it is just a social club, golf and motorbikes.
and that is so. So, how long have you been with your group for?
With this crew, I've been since I think it formed in 2001.
Damn. All right. That's a long time.
Yeah, somewhere around there. Yeah.
And so, what did they think about your whole Survivor, the whole journey?
To be honest, I kept it all quiet. Quiet as long as I could. Even when I went away, even when I went to Survivor to go overseas, that very last day or last week before we went, we had a get together, and I told them then that I'm going on Survivor, which they couldn't believe. But they're the best guys, and they were so supportive, and I think they were all equally as bummed that I didn't get as far as I was.
They're gonna hunt people down. If I hear the engines roar outside,
Lock the doors, mate.
Oh, that's pretty cool. Hey, I do have a couple of fun little questions to end up with. You say you love music. I figured you love music. I spoke a lot with Ray, your buddy, on the island about music. We had this game where we would sit around and talk about our favorite Beatles songs. But in the honor of Ray, hit me with. You don't have to say your favorite because I can't pick a favorite. But like, are you a Beatles fan? I'm assuming you're.
Yeah. I love everyone. Look, Ray's pop culture knowledge is out of control.
It is
like it does my head in. It really does. and I love him. He's one of the best guys I've ever met. I think I'm going to see his brother's band in next week or the week after. But he's such and his brother's a cool guy too. My favourite Beatles song would be one of the heavier ones, like Helter Skelter. I'm a mad Beatles fan. It's hard to pick anything that I don't like. Maybe Yellow Submarine is a bit of an average one, but I just like all the Beatles songs.
Yeah, that's fair. I think Helter Skelter was up there for Ray as well, actually, if I remember.
Really? Well, there you go, see? Him and I are so alike in so many ways with so many of our music genres. He'll mention one and I'll just go, oh, one of my favourites. And he go, you're one of the only people I know that knows that band.
Didn't you go to a show together, a live screening of some album? What was that?
We went and seen Stop Making Sense. It's the Talking Heads remastered show. And it was so bizarre. There was two people in the theatre, me and Raymond.
A hot date. The cinnamon orgy.
It's something that I will never forget for the rest of my life. We were up, we could dance, we could sing, we could yell. There was not one other person in the theatre. It was just a gem. It was one of the best days I've ever had.
That is so cool. And that's wow, what a way to reunite after Survivor.
It was so cool.
Oh, I think that's a really good place to end it. That Talking Heads, little duo with Ray and Garrick, mate. I was gonna ask you about if you'd want to play again and if you're going to keep watching Survivor, but I feel like that's a hard yes and a hard yes, right?
Mate, I'll never stop watching it. I love it. And they would have to stop making it for me to stop watching it. And truly, man, if there was a way that I could get back on.
Yeah.
You know, it's one of those things. I would play it over and over and over again. I've heard of other people that have said, no, I'll never go back. And I've heard of past people that said, no, I'll never go back. And I just couldn't think of anything more crazy. Heartbeat like that. I wait every day for that phone call.
If you're listening, give them a call.
Wouldn't that be golden? Imagine us playing together, Mark.
What could go wrong? But I think we really need to set that up. Hey, let's take a little let me take a little video of us chatting, and then we'll post this online because there we go. Whoop whoop. People. Oh, I shouldn't do that. Whoop whoop. That's triggering.
Oh my
Yeah.
God.
I'll chuck that onto Instagram so people know that Garrick is up next, mate. Thank you so much for your time. This has been heaps of fun. You're an absolute legend, mate. And are you back in the Gold? You're in the Goldie now.
I am. I arrived today. I'm not sure how long I'll be here for. I'm back in Indo. Well, every other month. I've been there 9 times this year trying to get this all sorted. So yeah.
Oh man, I hope the business kicks off, and I hope it goes well. And if whenever you're back, let me know because I'm just down the road. Do you? You're on Instagram. I've seen you posting stuff, some fun little clips. But shout out to your Instagram handle so people can follow you and watch you ride motorbikes and build a business in Bali.
Yeah, thank you, man. Garrick Wildman. Just look it up. I haven't put anything for a while, but I will be putting something on again soon. Yeah, I've just been a bit lazy.
Man, I love that your last name is Wildman because it's really fitting. That's so cool. I forgot that. Well, it's Mark Warnock here, Mark T. Warnock. Follow me on Instagram and tell me what you think. Tell me what you thought about Garrick, and let Garrick know that you want to see him on TV again. And if you know anyone in the industry, go and hassle them and get him on. But thanks very much for listening, and we'll see who comes up next. Thanks very much, Garrick.
Mate, absolute pleasure, Mark. Talk to you soon. Thank you, man.
Cheers.